Hey folks, Erick Stakelbeck here. Welcome to a special Saturday edition of the Watchman Newscast live stream. If we're coming to you on a Saturday, you know something pretty significant has happened in the Middle East, of course, and we had exactly that today. Hezbollah targeted Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's home in Caesarea along the Mediterranean coast. Now, if Hezbollah is doing this, it was on orders of Hezbollah's masters, the Iranian regime. This is an attempted attack of such magnitude that certainly it would be green light by the mullahs in Tehran, and that's exactly what they did. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Prime Minister Netanyahu, his wife Sarah, no family members were in the home at Caesarea at that time. Remember, the prime minister's residence, primary residence, is in Jerusalem. And every time I'm in Israel, I drive by it. But also, he has a residence in Caesarea where he stays from time to time, sort of like President Trump, White House, and Mar-a-Lago in Florida. Well, that was targeted today, the Caesarea home. Again, no one there, thank God. But here's some more details on it. Again, this is breaking news. No one was hurt. Just reading this straight off my phone from the Times of Israel. No one was hurt, but some unconfirmed reports claim the house was hit. Now, other reports are saying, no. The house was not hit, but the drone did explode nearby. No sirens sounded, apparently, but here's more. A drone fired by Hezbollah from Lebanon that exploded in the central seaside town of Caesarea early on Saturday targeted Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's private home, according to his office. The Prime Minister and his home were not present. No injuries were reported. Netanyahu's office released a short statement saying that a building, not the building, not the home, but a building in Caesarea had been hit. And the Times of Israel describes Caesarea, in Israel they call it Caesarea, as an upscale town famous for its swanky villas and Roman ruins and amphitheater. Folks, let me tell you, Caesarea is beautiful. And what a great amount of biblical history there. I filmed entire programs at Caesarea many times. Yes, there is the Roman ruins, the amphitheater, but the Apostle Paul, his trial took place in Caesarea. He was in prison there. And Paul went out. Really, Caesarea, just give you a little historical background real quick, which I think you'll find interesting because this is news and current events from an unapologetically biblical perspective. The Apostle Paul, when he departed for the Gentile world, essentially, he left from Caesarea. It's a port city, again, on the Mediterranean, north of Tel Aviv. So the gospel went out, really, you could say, from Caesarea. Just some background there on the city. It was not immediately clear if the prime minister's home suffered any damage, but he just released a statement, Bibi, saying, quote, "The agents of Iran who tried to assassinate me and my wife today made a bitter mistake." He said the attack would not deter him from continuing his war against Iran and its proxies. And folks, you can bet your bottom dollar that there will be retaliation for this, no doubt. And again, he was very specific and very accurate in saying this was the agents of Iran. Hezbollah, this drone emanated from Lebanon, and Hezbollah certainly launched it. Hezbollah is an arm of Iran. You could call southern Lebanon, Hezbollah's home base, you could essentially call it Iran West. That's how much Hezbollah has just commandeered that entire region along Israel's northern border. It's a state within a state, or at least it was, before the IDF went on a major offensive about 2.5 weeks ago and invaded on the ground. And they're rooting out systematically, methodically rooting out those Hezbollah villages, fighters, tunnels from southern Lebanon. And they're creating a very large buffer zone, which means thankfully, eventually, and hopefully soon, those 70, 80,000 Israelis who've evacuated their homes in northern Israel will finally be able to return home after nearly a year of being exiles inside their own country, living out of suitcases, scattered in hotels across Israel. But back to the attempted drone attack, what do you think of this? Clearly, if Bibi was home, Hezbollah and Iran would have been thrilled. But I think even though it was a failed attack, thank God, there's a larger symbolism here. Iran's trying to send a message. It's really clear. Not only because Israel has absolutely smashed Hamas, Sinwar confirmed dead a few days ago. Nasrallah killed the leader of Hezbollah on September 27th. Essentially 90%, if you combine the two, of Hamas and Hezbollah's leadership wiped out. And some of these attacks taking place on Iranian soil, I bring you Ismail Haniyeh, who was taken out on July 31st in Tehran in a guest house under the regime's noses. Add all that up. Iran's ring of fire unraveling, Hamas and Hezbollah, the two main rings on that ring that surrounds Israel, that Iran has spent decades building up. Add that up, and the not only high likelihood, folks, it's a certainty that Israel is going to strike Iran sometime in the coming days or weeks in retaliation for two Iranian ballistic missile attacks against Israel over the past 6 months. Of course, April 2024, 300 projectiles, ballistic cruise missiles, drones launched at Israel. October 1st, 200 ballistic missiles, the largest ballistic missile attack in military history Iran carried out against Israel. So that's 500 Iranian projectiles launched at Israel, 500 over the past 6 months alone. And you think Israel's not going to respond to that? It's coming. And every Israeli official, intelligence type I've talked to over the past few weeks says, oh, it's coming and it's going to be significant. Now, the Biden-Harris administration and the likes of Emmanuel Macron in France and the UK, they're wailing and gnashing their teeth over the prospect of an Israeli strike against Iran. But a strike indeed is coming. And the only problem now is, can Israel put a lid on it in terms of the targets and the timing? Not Israel. Can they put a lid on the United States? Because Joe Biden yesterday, reporters want to know. They asked what's left of Joe Biden. Do you know when and where Israel's going to strike Iran? Biden said yes and yes. And the reporter said something else, and Biden said no and no. Very clever. But my hope, and I'm an American who loves my country, but man, with this current administration, I hope Israel's not divulging too much to them about their plans. I would think that they know the Biden-Harris administration simply cannot be trusted, because at every turn, they want to mitigate any Israeli strike against Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran. They've tied Israel's hands time and time again and attempted to restrain Israel at every turn. Just as, and this is what really gets me, just as the Iranian regime has never been more vulnerable. Folks, look, again, Hamas is completely decimated. No longer any sort of significant threat to Israel. A threat and a ragtag guerrilla bunch still left in Gaza, but miles and miles from where it was on October 7th, 2023. Hezbollah has taken heavy blows and seen its entire leadership destroyed. So they were the insurance policy for Iran. If Israel were to strike Iran directly, in particular, Iran's nuclear facilities, Iran said, if you dare, Zionist entity, we will unleash Hamas and Hezbollah. And they will barrage you with thousands of rockets at once. So certainly that gave Israel a bit of pause. And I said throughout the years, you know, if Israel is going to strike Iran's nuclear weapons sites, I think it's going to have to be a twofer where they preemptively strike Hezbollah and Hamas. Because look, they were going to unleash, the mullahs in Iran were going to unleash Hamas and Hezbollah. Now they can't. Yes, just today, Hezbollah fired 100 rockets. I'm sorry. This is horrible. Any amount of rockets are horrible. But as I said yesterday, the estimates prior to September 17th, when Israel ramped up its offensive against Hezbollah, finally, after nearly a year of Hezbollah firing rockets and missiles on a daily basis, Operation Exploding Pager, some have called it Operation Below the Belt. Since then, what we thought before that, hey, man, Hezbollah, 800-pound gorilla, they can launch 3,000 rockets a day at Israel. And I talked to an Israeli friend yesterday who said, look, we thought when the Great Northern War with Hezbollah came, we'd be in a bomb shelter for weeks. And now it ain't that. 100 rockets, 200 rockets a day, horrific, intolerable. Big difference, though, between that and 3,000 rockets that are reaching every inch of Israel, which, helpful reminder, is a nation that is the size of the state of New Jersey. So Hezbollah, Hamas, severely weakened. What does that mean? Open path to Iran for Israel, mostly, if they want it. And they're going to take it. And the only question is, what are they going to hit? Military installations, oil infrastructure, Iranian leaders, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps. It's going to be, by all accounts, a very significant strike that leaves Iran reeling and surprised. What will it be? We're about to find out. And Israel's doing this again with the United States trying to restrain them and limit the strike at every turn. But that brings me back to today and this attempted drone strike. Now, if you're Israel, and Bibi said it, you heard me. I read the statement. If you're just joining us, folks, here on a Saturday, Bibi Netanyahu attempted assassination, attempt on his life by Hezbollah, by extension, Iran, launching a drone at his home in Caesarea along Israel's Mediterranean coast. I want to unpack this a bit more. Does this give Bibi now? Does this give Israel now a green light to target Iran's leaders? Is that why Bibi said these were agents of Iran that tried to assassinate? Does Israel not? Look, it's one thing to take out the leaders from terror organizations, Hamas, Hezbollah. But if you're going to take out leadership of a nation state, then you're going to need, look, the world will howl. So you're going to need a pretext and say, hey, look, they tried to kill me. So Iran unwittingly may have just done, if Israel's plan is to target Iranian leadership, the Ayatollah may have just done Bibi a favor in this attempted assassination of the Israeli prime minister. What do you think of that? More on that in a second. Hey, quick reminder, it's Saturday. And if you're not subscribed, you may not know that I'm coming to you right now live. So make sure to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so you get alerts every time a new video is posted. Sometimes Saturday, sometimes Sunday, depending on the news cycle. And we want to break down from a biblical perspective why it matters to you, no matter where you live. So be sure to subscribe. We just passed 1 million subscribers. Hard to believe. All glory to God, and a big thanks to our watchmen and women on the wall. Hey, make sure also to follow us across social media, Instagram, X, Facebook. We're there with some original content on those sites as well. And last mention, our nightly TV show. Every weeknight, Stakelbeck Tonight. We just launched in March 2024. Brand new show on TBN, the world's largest Christian television network. Every night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, with a re-air every night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And we've got a Stakelbeck Tonight YouTube channel. Believe it or not, we've got two. At Stakelbeck Tonight. That's at Stakelbeck Tonight, with clips from the show. We're busy, and we wouldn't have it any other way. We serve at the pleasure of the King Jesus. So this Israeli strike, now the plot thickens, I guess you would say. We just had an assassination attempt against the Prime Minister of Israel. So Iran, whatever Israel initially had planned for its response against Iran, maybe those plans are enhanced a bit to send an extra added message. Again, Iran, I've said, and people have liked when I've said this. I think it's accurate. I'm not surprised. I think people agree. I've said over the past few weeks, really since Operation Exploding Pager started, and when Hezbollah operatives continued to plant themselves in Beirut, in the southern suburbs of Beirut, in the Dahia neighborhood. I mean, Israel striking in Dahia time after time. They wiped out the entire Radwan force there, Hezbollah's elite military leadership. They target Nasrallah there. And yet still, they're not budging, and they're still burrowing in there. And Nasrallah, by the way, never thought in a million years that Israel would do what it did on September 27th. Take him out in Beirut. Because evil is arrogant. Key point, and people have said, you know what, you're right, it is. And look at Sinwar in Hamas. Sinwar signed in his moment of crowning glory on October 7th, 2023, massacring in cold blood, directing the massacre of 1,200 Israelis, men, women, children, the elderly, Holocaust survivors, a cold-blooded demonic murder. He was exulting in it because evil is arrogant. He thought he was untouchable. He never thought Israel would respond the way it did. And yet, he signed his own death warrant on that day, as did Sheikh Hassan Nasrallah, the leader of Hezbollah, on October 8th, 2023, when he began unilaterally firing rockets, missiles, drones at Israel. Evil is arrogant. And we see it again today with the Ayatollahs in Iran directing an attempted assassination of Benjamin Netanyahu. It's arrogant. And it's this sense that, and as well with the missile attacks over the past 6 months from Iran against Israel, It's this sense that Israel, you know what, they won't do anything significant in return. They don't have the guts. I mean, evil is also stupid. It's arrogant and it's stupid and senseless because, man, what more do you have to see if you're the Iranian regime? After all that Israel's done, really since July, hitting the Houthis, taking out Hamas, Hezbollah's leadership again and again, and you still doubt the seriousness of Israel right now at this moment? Evil's arrogant, man. And evil is very, very stupid at times. And I think the Iranian regime just made a very, very silly and dangerous for them mistake in directing this drone attack against Benjamin Netanyahu's home. Okay, we want to talk as well. We're talking prophetic, right? Prophetic implications. And one prophetic implication, I think October 7th, 2023. And what do you think, folks? I'd love your comments here. We've got such an educated audience, not only that follows current events, but a biblically literate audience. And how refreshing that is. That's why I love coming to you every day. But we said, or I said, on October 7th, 2023, and in the immediate aftermath, man, it's like prophetic. I mean, clearly just a demonic horde, an evil, demonically inspired event. I said, man, the prophetic floodgates were opened. And things are really going to start moving now. And I said, this is only the beginning, what we saw. And look, it's panned out that way, right? We've seen the ring of fire, the Iranian-backed ring of fire, ignite against Israel. And now that ring of fire being smashed. And you might say, well, what does that mean prophetically? And I said this on October 7th. I think it's lining things up for larger prophetic events to come. And I'm getting somewhere with this. Russia and Iran, major developments today that you want to hear about. But now that Iran's ring of fire, that it diligently worked to build up, I mean, for 42 years with Hezbollah. Folks, look, Hezbollah was founded by Iran, created by the Iranian regime in 1982. Painstakingly built them up and built them up. Now it's all being smashed in the span of a few weeks. Hamas, same deal, decades to build up. The Houthis have taken their lumps from Israel over the past few weeks, the Houthis in Yemen. You've got the Shia militias in Iraq and Syria, of course, but Hezbollah and Hamas, Hezbollah in particular, obviously, was the crown jewel of Iran's proxy network. Hamas was a major player. And also, don't forget, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, also in Gaza. They've been smashed as well. So the three proxies that Iran has invested the most in, Hezbollah, Hamas, and Islamic Jihad, I'd say along with those militias in Iraq, the Houthis too, but not to the magnitude, obviously, of Hezbollah and Hamas over the years. They've been smashed. What does that mean prophetically? It means this, I think, that Iran's ring of fire is unraveling. The Iranian regime is saying, uh-oh, maybe our strategy wasn't as foolproof as we thought. And it's one thing to put your eggs in the basket of terror organizations, which, look, Hamas and Hezbollah were lethal. They were terrorist armies. We never see anything like them. Even more dangerous and larger than ISIS, by the way, during the Caliphate days about 10 years ago. Hezbollah was probably the most powerful terrorist organization ever, at least in the modern age. At least 150,000 rockets and missiles, tens of thousands of well-trained foot soldiers, a tunnel network that Israel is, by the way, smashing right now in southern Lebanon, IDF troops on the ground, backing from a nation state, from Iran. Now that's going out the window. So prophetically, Iran is saying, okay, it lines things up for, drum roll, please, Ezekiel 38 and 39. In my view, the war of Gog and Magog. Funny name, I know, but it's the weekend. It's Saturday. Pick up your Bible and check it out. The book of Ezekiel, chapters 38 and 39, talks about a latter days, key phrase there, latter, last days, confederation of nations that come against Israel. Now, as Iran sees the proxy strategy unravel, I believe it's going to cleave closer to nation states, in particular, Russia and Turkey. And look, these are the three charter members of that Gog-Magog coalition. Spoiler alert, they don't get very far. And the God of Israel, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, has something to say about it that you'll want to read when you check it out today. That's your homework for the weekend. I will not quiz you, I promise, on Monday. But Iran is saying, man, who's dependable? Because they're not going to stop. They're dedicated in their life's work and their ideological demonic goal of destroying Israel. So they're not going to stop. Just because the Ring of Fire is destroyed, they're not going to stop. And just because they're about to take heavy losses as a result of the Israeli counterstrike, they're not going to stop. They are demonically possessed with this notion of destroying Israel. It's why they live and breathe, apparently. So if they're not going to stop at that, and now they're going to want revenge, right? They're going to look elsewhere for help in accomplishing that goal of destroying Israel, which will never happen, by the way, because I've read the book to the end. Who will they look to? Nation states. Look, Turkey has the second largest military in NATO. And newsflash, the leader of Turkey is an anti-Israel demagogue. And then Russia. Iran and Russia right now have a formal, full-blown military alliance, folks. And here's further evidence of it. Today, naval drills in the Indian Ocean, joint naval drills, Russia and Iran together. Let's read more here. This is from Voice of America. Iran hosts joint naval drills with Russia and Oman in the Indian Ocean. Naval drills hosted by Iran with the participation of Russia and Oman and observed by 9 other countries began in the Indian Ocean today, according to Iranian state TV. The exercises were dubbed IMEX 2024, and they're aimed at, quote, boosting collective security in the region, expanding multilateral cooperation, and they will display the goodwill and capabilities to safeguard peace, friendship, and maritime security. That's according to Iran. I ain't buying it. Sorry, boys. But the participants are going to practice tactics to ensure, this is rich, international maritime trade security and protect maritime routes. Wow. What about the Houthis in Yemen, who have completely destroyed the shipping lanes in the Red Sea on the orders of Iran? That's kind of the height of destroying maritime trade security, but I digress. Folks, you see the evil of it. Evil is arrogant, stupid. It's also double talking and deceitful. It will accuse you of what it is doing. And we see that here with Iran. But look, Russia is in the Indian Ocean right now, shoulder to shoulder with Iran's naval forces. And the timing is no coincidence. Russia very well knows that Israel is about to strike Iran. It knows that Israel is at war with Iran's proxies. Folks, what I'm saying to you is this. Russia has taken a side. Russia has chosen Iran over Israel. Don't kid yourself. Russia is now openly aligned. Look, Iran is supplying Russia with thousands of drones, with ballistic missiles, and it's a quid pro quo relationship. Don't get it twisted. Russia will need to give something in return. One example of that could be help with Iran's nuclear weapons program. I think it's a good bet right now that Hamas and Hezbollah are crippled and Iran's so vulnerable, the Ayatollahs are probably saying to themselves, and there's been reports of this, by the way, that, hey, we don't have our insurance policy anymore, the Ring of Fire. We need to break out and acquire the bomb ASAP. I mean, they may go into overdrive now and cross the nuclear finish line, or at least try to. Could Russia help them get there? Keep that in mind. But no coincidence, they are in the Indian Ocean today conducting joint naval drills. And again, the maritime security piece to this is just rich, considering the Houthis are the main scourge to maritime security in the world right now. And the Houthis are backed and funded by Iran. But Russia is sending a message through this to Israel as well. Russia has taken a side, and they've taken Iran's side. And I think Israel, their eyes are wide open now. I remember 2018, 2017, 2016, I'd be in Israel. I'd be talking to good friends there, former, current government officials, security types, and say, Russia is in Syria right now. Remember, they entered Syria in September 2015. I'd say, aren't you concerned? They said, no, we've had good relations with Russia, and we think it actually may be a good thing that Russia can maybe, keep Iran and Assad and the jihadis under control. Well, instead, Russia has come closer to Iran and the jihadis like Hezbollah. And you got to think that Putin is not too happy to see Iran and Hezbollah, his good buddies, and Hamas as well, who he's hosted in Moscow over the past year. He can't be happy to see them smacked around, right? And Netanyahu announced that they found advanced Russian weapons in southern Lebanon that Hezbollah possessed. So you see it shaping up. You see the prophetic chess pieces moving on the board, folks. Hey, perilous times, no doubt, but prophetic times, Bible times. Keep it all in prayer. And by the way, if you like what you're hearing, you want to go a little deeper with us, we do have a premium membership here on the channel. Just go to join on the homepage. And look, if you're not a premium member, we still love you. No worries. But we've got people who are with us every single day who want to go deeper. So what we do is we have a premium live stream every once a month where we do Q&A, just me and you, Q&A, and it's pretty cool. It's a little more intimate. And also our podcast, it's called the Stackscast. Incredible interviews with some incredible people, their personal testimonies. That's part of what you get for premium membership. And also, hey, it helps keep us going. Unfortunately, a nightly TV show, a very large YouTube channel, podcast, it's not free. I wish it was, but your support helps keep us going for such a time as this. We appreciate you. Hey, if anything happens, we'll come back to you tomorrow. Keep it all in prayer. Until next time, God bless you. Enjoy your weekend. And remember, never hold your peace. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Watchman Newscast. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an upload, and tap the bell icon so you're notified every time a new video is posted. And don't forget to share your thoughts, insights, and comments below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow.